And then she basically kind of gets all in my face, and you're a fucking stupid idiot, you know, how little sisters can be. And then I just stand up on my chair, calmly walk over to the Xbox, eject the CD tray with the DVD in it, and I break the tray off. And then I give her the DVD.
The Humidus Podcast.
Welcome, beautiful listener, to the Humidus Podcast once more. With me, Hammer, and of course,
Steph here.
Hey, Steph.
Hello there. We're back from a small hiatus.
Yeah, it's been Easter, and you've been working a lot.
Yep, every day.
Every day?
Every day.
What are you going to do with all that money?
I don't know. I was thinking maybe the Oculus Quest 2.
No. You should invest in yo-yo coin, okay? You should buy the most shitty cryptocurrency out there and just wait. Cross your fingers. Yeah, it's going to go to the moon, man. Okay, good. But, well, that's not what we're going to talk about today. It's going to be a little bit more gaming related.
Say so.
Because we had some news on Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormground. Quite limited news, but news nonetheless.
Yeah, we actually got to see some gameplay in action. And
Yeah, we saw some gameplay, and we got the release date and what kind of platforms it's going to release onto.
Yeah. Would you, how about, all right, like, we're going to bounce back and forth our impressions, right? Then at the end,
Sure.
How about we do a small wager about what we think the score of this game is going to be based on what we've seen so far?
Yeah, what, like our score or
Yeah.
meta game score?
Sure, let's do meta.
Steam score. Okay. Like impression-wise, it's the graphics look really good for that kind of isometric turn-based strategy style,
Sure.
I would say. Then again, I always feel that we praise graphics, so it's like it's never a bad graphical impression from us.
Yeah. Do you think that has to
it's-
do with the fact that we grew up adoring games like Heroes 3 and those kind of games where graphics were just like, it was pretty much a non-factor?
Yeah, sure, but like Heroes 3 is a beautiful game, though.
Sure.
I mean,
It
we appreciated the art of pixelated sprites.
Yeah,
That's what we did.
And early 3D modeling, like back when.
But I mean, we had some turds in our day. Definitely had loads of turds. So
Polygon turds. I like it.
yeah, I mean, the N64. Some of the games on the N64 are just they look like shit, basically.
Some of the games on PS1 as well, because like, holy fuck.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, it's like trying to make out some kind of geometric shapes through the snowstorm on TV sometimes.
Yeah, and like the small CRT TVs that were like placed far away. You were sitting on like the floor and stuff.
Yeah.
And trying to make out some very, very pixelated polygons far off in the distance. And yeah, I remember like some games. My buddy had some pirated PS1 with like burnt games.
Mm.
He had like bought in Thailand or something. And yeah, I remember one of the discs were just demos of a lot of different games. And I mean, the PS1 had a huge library of games, and we kind of played through the demos.
Yeah.
And some of the games were so shit. It's just ridiculously bad. And yeah, but we still enjoyed it because it was fun to explore, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I mean, back then, especially when you're a kid and stuff like that, you just like put up with so much more shit. Still find the quality in it because it's still, you're playing a game and you're discovering stuff.
And it was a little bit more unaccessible, maybe. I think the gaming consoles were not as accessible as today, and games in general. Like now, you have games on mobile phone. You have on every platform known to man, basically.
Yeah.
But back then, it was a little bit more special, and especially a lot of people didn't have, for instance, Sega Dreamcasts and stuff like that. It was a little bit more rare, and when you got to play on a Dreamcast, it was really an experience. You were like, "Oh my god, this controller!" And yeah,
I've never played the Dreamcast before. I've seen videos.
You didn't play?
No, I never.
Yeah.
No one around me had that, as far as I know.
I remember Stopptuner.
Yeah.
I think it was like I can't remember. Was it Space World?
Yeah, that
maybe it
sounds
was
about right.
Space World. It was a store of some kind, some gaming store, and they had a Dreamcast on display on like a projector or something.
Yeah.
I think it was for the launch and during like the launch weeks. And I tried it there, and it was so expensive as well.
Yeah.
It was like ridiculously expensive. So,
but its graphics and stuff was a bit ahead of time as well, right? So you kind of got what you were paying for to some extent.
Yeah, absolutely. It was well developed graphically, and it was a very advanced machine. It had some internet capabilities that were. Yeah, it was like some kind of dial-up system where you could actually, I think, even download games. So it was very ahead of its time. Yeah, it was like a little bit too much ahead of its time.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was very novel with that graphics memory card thing, that the gaming memory card. What it was, you could play games on the memory card. Remember? Did you ever see those?
Yeah.
And it plugged into the controller. Very weird design, but cool. And so the Dreamcast, but I think that the PS2 basically was a little bit around the corner, and it was more powerful. It was priced cheaper, and it was included with a DVD player, which was very, very hype.
That was like, and the worst part is, I remember at the time that PS2 was actually, at least in Norway, it was actually a very affordable way of getting a DVD player. Yeah,
I mean, it was like 1,000 crown or more than a regular DVD player or something like that.
Then you got so much more for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember pitching that to my dad. That whole sales pitch, but that didn't work out, and I was getting so kind of grown up, so I had my own money, and I basically went with the Xbox, the first Xbox.
Okay, yeah.
With that a little bit later though, but yeah.
I ended up with the GameCube, actually.
Yeah. Which was, a great system, but what did you take away from that?
I had a lot of good memories with the GameCube. I think I got my absolute money's worth from it. But the problem for me with the GameCube was that in Norway at the time, at least around where we live, there wasn't a lot of outlets that had like a big, collection of GameCube games for sale.
No.
And so I had to make do with some stinkers. But but still, it was still that thing where I enjoyed it because, it was new, it was a new game. Just the fact that it was a new game made that, like, it meant that I could still extract some fun from it and kind of, like, look past the stinkiness. Like, for example, there was this game, I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast before, but I had a game of the Scorpion King. Did I talk about that?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because it's a pretty rough game. Because it's a movie game based on the Scorpion King with The Rock from the early 2000s.
I remember that. I remember the movie.
Yeah.
Very well. Yeah.
And but to be fair, I remember that the game was hella hard, and but then I also I got entertainment out of it. and there was this Die Hard game that, for some reason, it was like its own story. It had auto aim, which made it like hilariously easy, or so you would think. But then it was still pretty hard in places. And then I remember I was so impressed because while the game probably doesn't hold up well now, you could still, some of the textures and details in the backgrounds, while hilariously flat, was still very clear, so you could read what it said on the candy bars when you went to the cinema level and all these kind of things. I was like, "Ooh, this is." I don't know. I thought that was pretty impressive to me back then. And then it turns out that game is considered shit. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, but I mean, I had like a billion experiences like that with the Xbox. I remember I used to buy a magazine that had an actual disc with demos on it.
Yes, good times.
Like a full size disc with some video content, some interviews, gaming interviews, and stuff like that. It was the Xbox official magazine.
Right.
And it was like 150 kroner, basically. Yeah. $15 or so, a little bit less.
Back then, even.
Yeah, back then. And, I didn't have a lot of money. So like $5 or $50, $60 for a game was really steep.
Yeah.
But like $15, you had access to a little bit more often. So I would like cave and buy the magazine instead of because I got so much enjoyment out of the demos.
Yeah.
And I remember at least one of the demos had Hitman 2 Silent Assassin.
Yes.
With one level. With just one level.
I had that demo as well.
And I played that for hours. I played the same level for hours and hours. I got so much enjoyment out of that fucking disc. But yeah, so you know, things were more special when you were younger.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was just kind of like a level of mysticism to it almost that it just isn't. Now it's just like it's what you said before, that everything is so accessible, it's so available. Like a lot of the older games that was really hard for us to get to, you can get on your phone for like $3 now. Like the Baldur's Gate games are on your phone. Titan Quests. It's so many like weird games that if you look for them in the App Store, you're like, what? They ported this?
Yeah.
And
I know.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Steam right now. It just bombards you with like a billion titles, and it's and very
loads
oversaturated.
Of great games as well. And since we're in the information age, you can basically know whether or not the game is for you before you purchase it.
Yeah.
And that was so different for us. We just had to play it through. And when you found a game that you really loved, that was like uncovering, a diamond. In a shit pile.
It really was. And I remember that happened with like I had these half cousins of mine that were like a couple of years older, and they were really into Counter-Strike. 1 point, like back in the 1.3 and 5 days.
3, okay, yeah,
and they were really into that competitive online FPS genre back then, and I didn't have the PC to run it, nor did I have parents that allowed it. So whenever we visited them, I would just sit there and just watch them just play because they were really good at it too, at least to me back then. And there were like 3 games that he showed me that I really remember. One was Counter-Strike. The other one was Unreal Tournament.
Oh yeah, Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, which would
great game.
Yeah, that one would, especially 2004 for me, that went on to be one of my absolute favorites. I tended to lean more towards that than Counter-Strike in the end, and I remember that I got my first, so to speak, like powerful PC. When I graduated, can you call it graduated? Well, I guess primary school, right? The summer
you graduated primary school. Yeah.
After being held back for 3 years. No, just kidding.
But, but did you get it for the graduation though?
Yeah, I did. Just before summer vacation. It was the best summer.
Oh my god, that's a great gift.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like for me, my primary school was fucking shit. I hated every day of it. It
Ooh,
was completely
seriously?
yeah. It's complete bullshit. Worst place ever. Like fucking rat's nest. Purge it. Anyway, so
Yeah.
the thought of like this is my last day here. It's a ceremony celebrating that I'm done with this shit. My mom tells me that she has a surprise gift waiting for me at home. And I just remember coming home and I see this like fucking desktop PC. And I'm just like, holy fuck. Really? She's like, yeah. And then turns out the graphics card, I think was like 64 megabyte or something. Which back then too was a little bit mediocre, but the rest of the machine was good. So what happened was she actually went out and bought a graphics card for me as well. That very same day.
A new graphics card?
Kinda, not like super high tier one. It was like a mid tier
No,
one.
I understand, but like because the first one was a little bit shitty, or
Yeah, so she really wanted me to have this, and she was really kind. So, and then she just went out and bought. I didn't even complain about it. She just like kind of realized, and then we
Understood.
went out and bought the card, which was like 256 megabyte or something, and that was probably the most you can get at that time. And I was like, shit,
damn.
fuck, yeah. And I've been scrounging by on fucking old IBM 486 PCs before that. Like really shit. I played the hell out of Doom.
Almost brings a tear to my eye, that story that your mom actually got out and bought the graphics card as well.
She was super, super nice. And, that's also when I realized, because I had some money of my own as well. And then we had our often talked about Elköp, the electronics store, which was very close. Like they had a big store close to where I lived, and so they were gonna tear that store down to make the mega store, the one that's still there today.
Yeah, right.
And everything in the store was half off of games. And I had like 300 crowns in my pocket, which is like $30 ish, give or take. I walked over there. I went into the store and checked out the games because now I knew I had the PC to run it as well.
To run it, yeah.
And guess what I found?
I don't know, Scorpion King.
No, thank God it wasn't. No, I found Unreal Tournament 2004.
Oh yeah, of course.
For exactly 300 crowns.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah,
that's
and this
perfect.
was this was probably 2005, I think, and it was only a year old or something, and it was half off, so it was usually 600 crowns, and it was like it came in this big box, like cardboard box.
Yeah, I
and
remember.
Like,
I remember.
Yeah.
Huge cardboard boxes. I mean, that was the shiznit. PC games had that before. I don't know what it was, but they had huge cardboard boxes. Maybe because some of the games had like install files and stuff back in the day. You needed like 3 discs or 4 discs to just play it, and like they had a thick fucking manual with all kinds of troubleshooting and instructions and a little bit of art and stuff like that.
I mean, if you're in the same age range as us, you remember the joy of when you were sitting in your parents' car on the way home from having bought a brand new game and just reading the fuck out of the manual on the way home.
Yeah, the manual was special, man.
Yeah, it had like
Okay.
an overview of all the weapons usually, and like would explain a lot of things to you, some lore. It was always like
some tips.
Yeah, it was it's like it's a kind of charm that doesn't exist anymore.
No.
But I just remember that on Tournament 2004, getting that, and that was one of the first games that actually required you to have a DVD player that I owned at least, because it was like I think 5 or 6 gigs, which at the time was a lot. That was a big ass game.
Yeah.
Man, that story.
Those were the days. Those were the days.
Really were. Unreal Tournament 2004, still one of my favorite FPSs.
Yeah, but Unreal Tournament is a really good like arena tournament shooter.
Yeah.
With a fucking, I mean, on LAN, that game is the shiznit.
Yeah, It really is, and just like there was just something about ragdoll physics was still relatively new, so they had that. It was like really gory. All the weapons
Cool
were just really
weapons.
creative. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got that, I don't know what you call it, that floaty kind of movement style where you
Yeah.
can gain a little bit of speed and you can jump around and be very dynamic.
Yeah.
I guess, which is very, you can really perfect that, like gliding through and just exploding a couple of guys.
Yeah. And you had
Left
like
and
all
right.
these kind of weapons that didn't give a fuck about your skill level because they required a lot of skill to master. Like you had what is it? The shock rifle that the alt fire shot this like slow moving orb, and then
Yes, that's right.
the primary fire shot like a beam that was really fast but low damage. But what you could do, you could spam the slow moving orbs, and then you can shoot them with a small beam, then it explodes for a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. I remember that.
Like hilariously hard to pull
Jesus.
off. But of course, you see these YouTube compilations of these guys who were just like fucking just hitting every shot with those things, right?
Yeah. Of course, somebody's like, I mean, people play this game even today.
I would imagine. I'm kind of just sad that Unreal Tournament 3 just took the game down a shit pile a bit.
Yeah. I mean,
What were we talking about?
We were talking about Age of Sigmar.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like 20 minutes ago, so. But
Sorry, people.
anyways, we were saying that the graphics were good.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so it's going to be a turn-based strategy game, which we're going to be able to choose from 3 different, I guess, new Warhammer Fantasy armies: Stormcast, Nighthaunt, and Maggotkin.
Ooh, that last one piques my interest.
Yeah, which is basically the K faction.
Yeah, that's the K faction.
But I mean, I don't really know these factions, since I don't know the Age of Sigmar verse that well, but you can kind of see that they are mashups of older fantasy factions, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I've only briefly delved into the lore of Sigmar as well, but then just it seems like it's somewhere, but it's kind of trying to bring in a lot of like 40k looking stuff to fantasy as well, like Stormcast.
Yeah,
there's a reason they call them the Sigmarines because they,
yeah,
especially in the cover art for this game, they just look like Space Marines with face masks that ride on dragons.
yeah, absolutely. They do resemble Space Marines, and a lot of older fans of Warhammer Fantasy do not particularly like that whole thing with the kind of 40k-ifying of fantasy, but you gotta admit that some of the models look really cool.
Yeah, they do. It's it's not necessarily. I think my first surface impression was like that, and then when I actually looked into it a little bit more, it really grew on me. There's some really cool stuff going on in Sigmar.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's cool for what it is, but I can kind of get with the crowd on that. When it replaces fantasy, it's a little bit,
Yeah, I feel like this one
to?
doesn't have as much, maybe not as much personality as fantasy.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, almost like when you're watching kind of today's children's cartoons or television, and comparing it to like the ones we grew up with.
Yeah, dude.
And you feel that it's like it's just more mass produced in a way, like it's just squirted out from a numb machine that mass produces this shit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, because like now you have occasional stuff like Adventure Time and these kind of like gems, right?
Yeah, of course, but that's more, like weird. I'm talking about NRK Super.
Oh, like the Norwegian national channel kind of bullshit.
Yeah, and like if you watch children's cartoons now, not like for grown-up children like us, but cartoons for really small children, and compare that to what we had when we were kids, like like Sesame Street and stuff like that. It's just more. It's a lot more soul, and more like it's just animated shit, really easily mass-produced animated shit with high octane action all the time. I guess it's my criticism. Whatever. This is.
I agree. I mean, but
we're digressing massively again. But yeah, we were gonna rate it, like predict what kind of Metascore. Yeah,
can we? I have a couple of concerns, or like, there's a couple of nitpicks I have with this game because I was a little bit hyped for it. I'm always. I think we touched on this before as well. That like, as Warhammer fans, there's so much potential in the universe that we always hope for, and we tend to really look closely at most of the titles that come out in both Warhammer, 40k, Fantasy, Sigmar, all that, to kind of see if there's diamonds in the rough, right? So like, but we also mentioned before that it can sometimes feel like charity and feel like a chore.
Yes.
And
it's a little bit like that.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, for every Total Warhammer 1 and 2, there's gonna be something like what? Regicide? Or no.
Dawn of 3.
Yeah, Dawn of War 3, or maybe even fucking Deathwing. A lot of janky shit. So, and that's kind of what I was hoping this game, could bring in. Yeah, turn-based. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. But seeing the gameplay, it looked very mobile to me. It looked like a mobile game.
I agree.
And it looks like, it brings up these, deck building mechanics and stuff. And I'm thinking, oh no, is this gonna be a gacha game?
I mean, I got those same concerns when I saw the deck building. We didn't mention that, but there was a very big hint that it's going to be a deck building game.
Yeah,
which is very in vogue right now.
Yeah, it is.
There are loads of these games that are kind of mixing up the deck building base with other types of strategy and RPG games.
Yeah.
But it does give that pack opening,
exactly.
kind of dopamine based microtransaction
there
feel.
We go. Slippery slope.
It is a very slippery slope, and probably they're going to introduce more factions over time, and that's DLC or microtransactionable.
Yeah, or macro-transactionable even.
Macro-transactionable, yeah. But I mean, as long as it's done willingly, I guess, when you kind of buy a game like this, you see that coming, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't need to buy the new races. You can do so if you want to. But if the game is structured around it, which the deck building style can absolutely be, then that's not too positive.
Yeah, I mean, I think the case in which this will be fine for me is that if these, I'm okay with there being like opening packs as long as if you earn them at a good pace in game by just playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking like free to play. That kind of, we're gonna drip feed you. I hope, like, for example, Deathwatch has this as well, where you also get units and packs, but you earn these packs all the time in game. So I'm fine with that. It's okay as long as it doesn't hinder your progress too much. But yeah, it's very easy for that to turn into microtransactions, and then if there's like some kind of competitive meta that turns up, it always tends to be around based on the new factions that come in that you have to pay for, and
and you have to have like the optimal deck, with these and such units, and they are rare, and you need to open 3 billion packs to get one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that type of structure certainly lends itself to micro transaction shenanigans, but we don't really know that for sure.
Yeah, it's pure speculation at this point.
But it is announced for mobile. Actually, it just says PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC.
Okay, that's good.
So, I mean, it certainly can launch for App Store and the Google Play Store. But I mean, we'll just have to see how heavily influenced it is. But I don't know what kind of Metacritic score are we looking at here, Steph? Got to come up with a number.
For me, I'm gonna say 73.
Yeah, that's quite high.
Yeah, sure.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
73 is decent.
it is, especially for a Warhammer game.
I was more like 69 maybe, or
Okay, nice.
Yeah, okay, 68 then. But I mean, I think that it might not be. I mean, I don't know, but like this hex strategy roguelike single player campaign,
Yeah,
defeating other players, online PvP,
Yeah.
conquer the mortal realms when Warhammer Age of Sigmar launches. That's basically me reading off the IGN article here, but
yeah, but
it doesn't excite me that much.
No.
It's just it's just some.
the hex grid thing takes me off a bit. You know, I thought it would be more like maybe more Fire Emblem-esque.
Yeah,
That's
that
what I
would
was
be
hoping.
really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I guess the hex thing is a little bit easier. I feel that a lot of game developers go that route with the hex-based strategy game because
easy.
it's such a tried and true format,
Yeah.
basically. But I mean, who am I to criticize? I don't develop games.
Well, yes, you do.
Oh yeah, I actually do. I have developed a game, guys. So maybe we should have a Patreon when we ever get to Patreon. We can have a free demo of my self-developed game.
That sounds like a great idea. That should
It's
definitely.
a 2D platformer, okay? 2D shooter platformer.
And
That's all.
the weapon aiming follows your mouse.
Which is a very hard thing to program, so don't mock that.
I'm not.
No.
I was quite impressed with the game. It gave me a very good laugh.
You fucking should be, because I used a lot of time on that.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell. There was so much inside joke humor in there, and then you have Morbid M as a panda boss with wiggly arms.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, now you're not talking about the newest iteration, the newest. You're not talking about K4.
Well, all of the games have been pretty fun.
That's I think that's K2 with Morbid M.
Could be.
Yeah.
Is that also the one with the Dolan Duck boss?
Yeah, that's the Dolan Duck boss. That's right.
You know, there's a sentence that I never thought I'd hear from anyone ever, which was like you talking about that game with the Dolan boss, because you were like, yeah, you know what? At the first, when I play tested it, I realized that I had some balancing issues because the deck was just shooting too much cum. I couldn't dodge.
Oh yeah. So to experience that, guys, you'll have to. We don't have a Patreon yet, so we'll have to kind of. That'll be a nugget for later.
Maybe
But, yeah,
maybe in a couple of years,
Yeah, maybe in a couple of years.
So yeah, if if you ever want to see the Dolan Duck boss that was horribly unbalanced in all the right ways, spread the word.
Yeah, please do. Okay, so on to the next subject of the day.
Yeah.
And that is Resident Evil Village, the new kind of gameplay trailer with a little bit extra.
Yeah. And it's important to note that this one was captured on the Ps4 Pro.
Oh. Not on PS.
So because like it's I would expect this game to run quite well on next gen consoles, but from what I could tell, that looked like it was more than 30 FPS as well on the PS4 Pro. Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought it was next gen. I didn't know that it was Pro.
Yeah, no, it was. And there were some like sure you could tell that because of
here and there maybe.
Yeah, there were like a couple things with it that I noticed since I was deliberately looking at the graphics to try and compare and stuff. And there were a couple of things, like for example, you could tell that when they were in the wine cellar thing, that you could tell that some of the barrels were kind of like low res, and these things like
right.
The unimportant things really, because the gun models look great, the characters look great. The game still very much looked as it's supposed to, and that's pretty impressive to me, man.
That is impressive. That is very impressive, and there's someone else very impressive, of an impressive stature at least.
Fucking A, yes.
In this trailer,
and we got. To
maybe we should kind of. Yeah, we got to see a different perspective here,
and I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, it was eerily erotic, I would say. But we can kind of go through the trailer a little systematically here. So first we see the first kind of segment of the video is down in the wine cellar.
Yeah.
Which is a blood cellar, I guess.
Yeah, blood or wine, hard to tell.
Or is it wine? I don't know. It's a little bit hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, the texture is very similar to both blood and wine, so we'll leave that undecided.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the gunplay and the lighting. What do you think about that, Steph?
I liked it a lot. I think that this game had the aesthetic here. Oh, our favorite word, the aesthetic. Yeah. Well, it did something for me. I just like how they bring this gothic vibe. And I think it's more interesting than the whole bio weapon shtick that the Resident Evil have been going for a while. But you know, in terms of like how they make me feel when I watch this, it's exactly what I was hoping they would do.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I feel basically the same way. You get like a very, I wouldn't say cozy, but but I do love how the gunplay seems to work. It's very weighty, and every shot seems to be like very important. And also the smoke. Oh my god, the smoke from both the pistol, the 9/11, I guess it is, or
9/11, 1911. You mean
1911? Not
the Osama gun.
Sorry. the tower destroying pistol. Yeah. But yeah. And the shotgun is the smoke coming from both the barrel and I guess the ejection port.
Yeah.
Is just beautiful.
I agree, and I also, of course, like we were talking about the reload ASMR in an episode before when we talked about the previous gameplay trailer for this. That continues here. I thought the reload animation was really satisfying.
Absolutely, very both realistic and satisfying.
Oh man, this game is shaping. I'm glad I took out the vacation days for this for this game's release.
You prepared.
I did.
Prepared yourself. Well, that's really hardcore. A little apropos there with prepare yourself. I mean, Classic BC is gonna launch not too long. Are you excited for that at all? Did you play WoW at all?
I'd say my excitement level for that lies around the level of what should I compare that to? The next FIFA.
Okay, so that's very low then.
Yeah, nah, to be fair, it's I played WoW on N's recommendation way back, I think I got to level 20. Then I got very bored because there wasn't enough blood and gore and action combat. So yeah. But I've kind of followed it on and off like very loosely, because it's still almost a 20-year-old game that's still going strong. So
yeah, it's kind of funny that I was an avid WoW player back in the day.
Yeah.
And I always get excited for these classic releases. I actually played a new character from 1 to 60 in WoW Classic, and raided and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But I'm a little bit excited for TBC. Maybe I'll play it a little bit.
Would you think that this? TBC probably brought in some quality of life changes and stuff too, right? So I guess.
Yeah, sure they did, but the game is still very grindy and it's very WoW-esque. It's a little bit more refined, or it does resemble classic vanilla.
Okay, so it's still
It is. It does really. You need to do a lot of attunements for the raids, and there are a lot of raids and a lot of reputation grinding, stuff like that. If you wanna, So basically, what for me, TBC introduced back in the day was Arena, which I loved, because I was always a PvPer, not too much of a raider.
Yeah.
And I felt that kind of brought it to the next level where you could really show your prowess, and especially early days in Arena, it was really fun because people hadn't developed the meta and gotten that face roll super combo. So that was good.
Are you gonna buy a disposable T-shirt that you can destroy again for the occasion?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, that's Steph is referring to a story where I basically ripped my T-shirt because I was so angry that I lost an arena match. And I also threw a banana at the wall really, really hard. And the wall in the basement where my mom and dad lives had like a really strange wallpaper thing, which was almost like a thin carpet along the walls on just one side. So this was meant to be, and I threw the banana with every ounce of hatred I had in my body, and it just splattered all over the wall. And I didn't clean it up right away, and when I tried to clean it up, it was impossible to get the banana stain out. So it was like that. It's still like that to this day, actually. As a memorandum to
top
to
10
that time.
proud gamer moments.
Yeah, that's. I also broke the eject tray of my old Xbox that we talked about earlier. The same Xbox. This was, of course, way later because my little sister used to watch Pirates of the Caribbean on DVD on my Xbox.
Yeah.
And this was also because of Arena. Played some Arena and we lost like maybe 10 games in a row. And my sister had continuously every day been sitting down there and watching Pirates of the Caribbean for the like 10th time. I'm not even kidding. It was probably maybe like the 7th time, but and I'm fucking annoyed at that fucking Pirates of the Caribbean tune and Jack Sparrow being all drunk and just raving about, So I say to my sister, if you don't turn that off, I'm gonna break the Xbox. And then she basically kind of gets all in my face and you're a fucking stupid idiot, how little sisters can be. And then I just stand up on my chair, calmly walk over to the Xbox, eject the CD tray with the DVD in it, and I break the tray off. And then I give her the DVD. Oh, good times.
What did she do then? How did she react?
I think she just went upstairs. She was angry, but can't remember she said anything. She just marched upstairs, basically.
Did you get any like trouble with your parents for that or no?
No. I think I don't think I got any trouble. I can't remember, but I broke my own Xbox, so
Yeah, I guess.
But the thing was with that Xbox, it was chipped, so I actually had everything on the hard drive.
Oh, okay.
Like I had games and emulators and all kinds of
And the hentai.
good jazz, and the hentai, yeah, and that. I did have some. I mean, I had some SNES like dumps of rooms.
Yeah.
And I remember some of the rooms were actually hentai rooms. Like it was a game that was basically a slideshow of hentai.
Jeez, that's next level of extra steps to take just to get your fix.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think that was ever sold in Japan, like way back when?
I'm pretty sure it was because they like the whole slideshow thing. I mean, they have so many niche ways of or like formats for hentai and stuff like that because they they have all the eroge with which are basically like visual novels with porn in it and these things. Quite a few animes are actually based on those porn games as well, like Fate Stay Night, and these kind of like quite popular series started out as games. Well, they're not so much about the hentai as it is like a story with compelling characters, whatever, with porn in it too.
Yeah, that too.
So yeah, I don't know. You're also talking about the country that sells used panties in vending machines. So
yeah, be efficient. Available 24/7 anywhere you want. Panties.
The shitty thing is we actually had one of those vending machines close to where I used to live in the city.
Did you ever see anybody use it?
No, like it was located in like this underpass below the rail tracks. This really like shitty downtrodden area. Yeah, it was. It's not a place we frequented a lot. Let's just say.
No.
We just saw it and we were like, it wouldn't be funny if that was like a panty dispenser, huh? And then we look closer and it's like, oh fuck, it is.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what a great country.
Japan.
Yeah,
it is a great country. I mean, I've never been, but I'm gonna go someday.
Yeah, I mean, I can show you the nice vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
And Yoda.
Be willing. You can show me Yoda and all that other. I mean, the food is probably one of the biggest draws for me to Japan.
Which
like exclusive? Yeah, just really good sushi and Kobe beef and stuff like that.
High roller boy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna spend some cash, of course, but for me, that's worth it. That's an experience for a lifetime. Just one of those meals. What is a Kobe beef cost? Like a high-end Kobe beef?
Let's see. I think the last time I checked the prices for that when I was actually there was probably, I think, about 25,000 yen for, I think, 150 gram steak. With and that equivalates to like what, $200? $200,
yeah. I mean, we're gonna need a little bit more than 150, at least 300.
yeah, true. And then it's gonna run you
$400 then.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair price. But then you also get some nice sides and stuff as well. I don't know how high end this was, but it was the restaurant that was like at the bottom floor of a 5-star hotel. So I assume it is quite decent.
Yeah, that's probably all right.
But you can also get some really nice slices of Wagyu. Like the other high quality Japanese beef, which is not quite Kobe beef, but it has like a lot of great quality layers as well, and that's a lot more affordable, and it tastes amazing.
Yeah, I've been sold on a Wagyu burger. Actually, that was that that was my the boyfriend of my sister, which I broke off the tray to intimidate. So he has been to Japan like 5-6 times, and he
Damn.
swears by that burger, the Wagyu burger. That was
Um,
he's he loves to travel, and Japan's the place that he's been back to the most times. So
yeah, I mean,
that speaks for itself.
I think that, I went there for vacation back in 2013. That was before I had decided that I wanted to study there. And back then, I remember it was like, when people in my workplace at the time, they heard that me and a couple of colleagues, we were going to go there for vacation. They're like, "What? What are you going to do there?" Like, it was such a foreign concept to them to go there for vacation. But then now, like the years since just seen people just like it's much more common now, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's because like it's a great country. It has a lot of it's packed with stuff to do. You have Tokyo, for example, which it just has so many things, like so many different things packed into every street corner. And then for the cultural stuff, you can just go to Kyoto, which is like the cultural hub, and it has just so much of everything you want to see of that whole whatever you think of right now when I say Japanese temples and shrines and stuff, that's there, right?
Yeah,
and it's just so many things. It has a lot to offer, even if you don't speak the language. It's not really that unwelcoming anymore for those who don't know the languages. They've gotten.
Would you say that the average Japanese does understand English now, or is it like younger generation maybe?
Younger generation for sure. I'd say they have improved quite a bit, I think. And the older generation, it's very up and down. But then what you'll also encounter is that maybe they know, but they'll be very afraid and try to shy away if you try to speak English.
Yeah, they don't really want to engage in that. Yeah, but I'll get by on my shitty Japanese. I mean, I can say some words.
Yeah. Just ask where the oppa and the chinchin is, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But to be fair, like a serious point actually, if you know a little bit, if you take a little bit of time, if you know you're going to travel there, if you take a little bit of time to learn the language, just a little bit, even just like basic of sentences, whatever it is, you'll see that the reception you get is going to be very different, because then suddenly, they'll be very much more receptive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth taking the time to learn a little bit of the language, because you might end up on an adventure that goes outside of the typical tourist experience as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, what were we talking about before that?
I think we're basically done. We were talking about the Resident Evil trailer. We didn't get to talk about the last part.
Yeah, I think we can sum that up with dump truck.
Yeah.
I didn't expect. I mean, of course, we know that she's her geometry, her topography is very well developed, but this is the first time you got to see from the backside, and I was like, holy shit, it's like a 3-meter tall dump truck. Holy shit, I'm happy. I'm ready for Lady Dimitrescu to absolutely obliterate me. Speaking of tower destroying guns, right?
Absolutely, she is tower destroying in every way. But yeah, I mean, there's something about that scene. I kind of get what they're going for. She seems very intimidating. She's so huge and probably very physically powerful.
Yeah, pretty much.
She's also she's so resolute and brutish in her movements.
Yeah.
And like you say, her shape is very shapely.
Yeah.
But I just get some kind of comedic feel or something from that little, because basically our character is just watching her from the window, crouching down, trying not to be, noticed, and she's raving about blah blah blah, him being in a castle and stuff like that. And you clearly don't want to be noticed by her because she'll fucking drag you inside and rape you. But
that's a good outcome. That's a good ending.
That's if you've unlocked all the secrets. But I think that, I don't know, there's something that just, it's almost a little bit too over the top, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't help but smirk a little bit when I see that scene.
The funny thing was also that it really looked like she looked straight at you if you saw her in the mirror.
Yeah.
That was a little bit unnerving, actually.
Yeah, she does look in the mirror, and it seems like she's actually looking straight at you. I don't know if that's intentional or if that's an oversight or what it is, but
probably
maybe you're supposed to kind of. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it does look like she looks straight at you.
You want to. The thing is, though, if you want a good ending, here's what you have to do. You go to our Patreon and you order your chipped Xbox Series X with the game, chipped by Hammer himself, and then you'll unlock the slideshow of her of the rape.
Yeah, you can, and also on the Xbox will be all the Hammer developed games.
Yeah,
because there actually is a series of games. So yeah, I think you should just go do that now and like and subscribe our video, and yeah, thanks for listening all the way through. If you do that, you're a real G. Remember to stay dank
and stay humid.